Welcome into another episode of the Film Room. I'm really excited to be joined today by Indya Nivar from over at University of North Carolina. India, first and foremost, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. Getting back into the swing of things.
Yeah, it's kind of wild to think about senior year coming up. What
Right.
is that? What's that feeling been like? How has it been settling back in? Like, all right, this is my last time with like first week of classes, like kind of getting back
Uh,
on top of that.
it's just crazy. I feel like time moves so fast. It feels like I was just freshman um weeks ago, but yeah, just excited for my senior year. I feel like this year a lot of growth is going to happen for me, and getting comfortable learning how to be a leader. I feel like I have some big shoes to fill, but
Mhm.
I'm ready for that, and I've been preparing for that.
No, absolutely. That's one of the first things I wanted to ask you about, like just in general, your off-season focus, because based on anything I've heard from you or seen from you, you seem to be somebody who's very motivated and pretty locked in
Mhm.
on getting stuff done. Your quote at the end of on your IG caption for the season end was acknowledging the growth, but I'm wanting and reaching for more. So, what did that look like for you this off-season and getting prepared for your senior year?
Yeah, setting goals. Like I want to go to the next level. I want to go to the WNBA, and I feel like I have the body and the IQ to get there. But just toning in on my skills. I was working with I don't know Sarah Strong's dad. Like I'm
Hmm.
close friends with him, and he's a really good trainer. And we've been watching film and then just breaking down things that I need to improve on this coming year to get ready for the WNBA. So that's like change of pace, getting my reads quicker and more efficient, and then my shot, just making sure I trust in my form, and yeah, pretty much getting into that. So that was like the main thing I was focused on this
Yeah.
off.
No, I'd love to hear that because I think that's all stuff that I would have highlighted for you is growth there. And some stuff we're going to go through on film too.
Hmm.
I want to talk about your shot a little bit because talking to people who were like, I mean, I'm somebody who's watched you since you were with Carolina Flames. Same with other people. Like I've
Hmm.
never felt bad about your shot. Like I think a
Yep.
lot of it's just to me watching you. I think it's just confidence and getting used to getting it up more. What has
Hmm.
that been like for you and kind of trying to rep that out and get more comfortable with it?
Yeah, definitely confidence. Like, and then trusting in my form. I feel like when I don't trust in my form, that's when like I shoot it short. I let my elbow fall down. But trusting in it fully and just repping it out so that it's like muscle memory. So I'm not even thinking about it when I have that open shot in the games. Um, but yeah, like there wasn't too much mechanically that I had to change. It was more of like, maybe tweak one thing, getting my elbow higher so that the like I get my shot up over the rim, and then just trusting in it. That's
Yeah.
it.
No, absolutely. I'm glad you noticed that because I think a lot of going back through and watching all your attempts from this last year, like I think it's your makes are when keep things clean, and
Hmm.
then the misses are like okay, your guide hands coming off early or your feet
Yeah.
flare out. Like it's just like the little things like that. That exactly like you said. I think so often people are like oh I gotta like change up my whole shot like this and
Yeah.
that. Really, it's just fine tuning those little things. So excited to see what that looks like for you.
Hmm.
You mentioned goals, obviously, and wanting to get to the next level. But like in terms of this year and what you want to show, non-conference play. Like first thing when people are watching Indya Nivar for the first time in her final season, what are the things you really want to be able to show? And um, or do you have any kind of like not numerical goals is the wrong way to put it, but like what are kind of like how are you keeping progress and kind of being able to stay on top of that?
Yeah. In practice, me and Coach Banghart, we recently just met. Going over efficiency numbers because that's a big thing that like WNBA scouts look at,
For sure.
and like that's something I can improve on for sure. So my makes, um, turnovers, assists, all that. That's how I'm keeping up numerically, but also like, watching film, making sure that my mind is clear and that I feel comfortable on the court, making my reads and like getting my teammates involved. Also being that leader for them. I think that was like a big thing for me.
For sure. In terms of like you mentioned, film study with your trainer, obviously just with the team in general. Is there anything you started to pick up on more lately, or things that you've maybe like you hadn't necessarily noticed before, or hadn't gone as in depth with before that you're starting to feel like you see more when you're watching games?
Yeah. So me working on my change of pace, I've been able to like slow myself down and give myself a chance to see how the defense is moving and like what's like the best options, like me hesitating to get to the rim or even the cuts that my teammates are making, me slowing down. I feel like I've been able to see that more. Um, and then watching film just helps me, see how is the defense moving, the positions I should be to put myself in like the most successful spot to be like effective at the game.
Definitely.
Yeah.
As far as like watching the W or just kind of watching basketball in general, are you somebody who like you're kind of just watching your own film, or are you somebody who kind of just always has basketball on in the background?
Oh yeah, I'm always watching basketball, NBA, WNBA, college, like, and like when I'm watching, I'm very active in like, what are they reading? How's the defense moving? And I feel like I learn a lot from that as well.
Definitely. Is there anybody in the W that you kind of watch and you're like, I see like parts of my game in them, or like how I can apply some of those things, or is that something that's kind of picked up for you?
Yeah, I would say like Jackie Young is one that I feel like I can relate to the most, like her build and how strong she is as a guard and how she's able to get downhill and also stretch the floor and play defense. I feel like I can relate to her and watching her because she made a lot of growth like her second year in the WNBA with her shot as well, and I feel like that's probably like the steps that I'm gonna have to make as well.
No, definitely. And I love hearing that because I think so. Ironically, Tyler, who worked with Jackie, is a really good friend of mine,
Hmm.
and a lot of what he and her did together with shooting was just like exactly like you just talked about. Like it's not redefining the wheel; it's how do we polish this up? How do we make this consistent? Like so, I see that a ton in what you're talking about.
Hmm.
Last couple of things before we get into the film. I wanted to ask you where you feel most comfortable at on the court. And I think in some ways that can be a trick question, but like positionally, I guess, how would you kind of consider yourself? Like, where do you feel best on court?
Like, you're asking like position wise or like
Yeah,
where
position
to
wise.
stay? I would say the one and the two.
Yeah,
I feel like getting the ball in my hand in transition, that's when I feel the most comfortable, like out in the open court.
yeah,
So, like,
yeah. No, I would agree with that for sure. And watching you, like that's where your vision pops. That's where your best finishes are. That's where you
uh,
see a lot of those really good things. But it's also kind of funny because like going back through and watching games again, I forgot how much you played the four down the stretch of the season.
yeah.
Which was like but it's funny because you do a really good job of doing it, which is something we're gonna get into. But like I think part of what stands out with you is my point, kind of like why I liked you bringing up Jackie. A lot of what's made her successful in the W is she can handle the one, she
Hmm.
can make those reads, but she has the ability to play up a little bit. She can unlock lineups, and I think that's something like particularly as your shot comes along, there's going to be a lot of ability for you to do that because you can really like I mean you rebound at a really high level.
Hmm.
You're a great defender, which we're going to get into obviously, but like I just think you do so many little things that are really important to being able to play more than one position.
Hmm.
So that always stands out a ton of watching.
Right.
Um, so I have to ask too before we get into the film. I need to learn more about Blue Ballers. How'd you guys get started up? What is it? What's it going to look like without Maria this year? Like, take me
And
through that because I mean the rise last year was crazy.
oh yeah, no, it's just like a fun little thing that we do. Last summer, a couple of us got really close, and we were like, and people are always telling us to post like on our individual pages. So we were like, let's just make a combined account. You know, talk about basketball, talk about the things that we're doing. And yeah, like it's just we do stuff on the whim. We never really like plan what we're doing, and yeah, I guess people like our humor.
Yeah,
We think we're really funny, so it's like to see that people also think that we're funny is kind of cool.
yeah,
But yeah, no, it just shows our friendship and like our chemistry off the court. We're always hanging out with each other. Definitely missing Maria. Like that was like one of my closest friends, especially since we came in at the same time. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, getting the other teammates involved. We want, even though it's like a couple of us that are really close, we also still want to build like, good friendships with our other teammates, like the freshmen that came in and the transfers as well.
For sure. And like I mean, you mentioned the leadership piece earlier. I think like it's interesting because working on your shot, working on your handle, like that's stuff you can track. But like when you're trying to grow as a leader, how do you kind of stay on top of that and manage that? What has that been like for you?
Yeah, it's been a growing process for me. Like, being very vocal on the court is not really me. Like I can speak and, tell people what to do, but I'm not really the one to yell or
Mm,
anything like that. So, flipping that switch when you get on the court to kind of like, lead them, um, lead us as a team. setting that standard both on the offensive, defensive end, and like, our discipline as well. I feel like even though that like we're close friends, they're able to receive like the feedback that I'm giving, and I'm willing to like build that trust with them as well, which I feel like is important as we move along in the season. Like we're gonna have that trust between the leader and the rest of the team, because I feel like that's kind of crucial when you get into those big games as well.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, I'm excited to see what that looks like for you. Let me get this film pulled up. All right, so I want to start off talking about your defense because to me, like we've talked about, I think your defense is what's going to get you on court.
Mhm.
Like that gives you the opportunity to do more things, develop, like get real leeway. Because I think so much of, and I wonder if you felt this in college, but like so much of getting the opportunity to do stuff on court is what you bring consistently, right?
Right.
Have you kind of felt that throughout college so far?
Oh yeah, like even though my offensive game, like slowly progressed, I feel like what really got me on the floor was defense, and they kind of relied on me to guard the best player, and that's why even at Stanford, that's why I would go in the games as well, and that's why they would like leave me in the games is here at UNC because you also need defense on the floor for sure.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, you guys were the top defense in the ACC last season for a reason.
Mhm.
So I want to start like going up against the top offense in the ACC, guarding Florida State before we even watch clips. What was like they play obviously a very modern system, very pro system.
Mhm.
So what was kind of key emphasis for you in that game, especially knowing a lot of pace, a lot of transition?
Yeah, specifically Florida State, we know Tanaya Latson, man, she gets downhill with ease, super athletic, and then she has shooters around her, also with Michaela Timpson on her team. Rebounding, rolling, hitting those elbow jumpers. But with this team, I feel like we kind of knew their tendencies. This is like our second time, third time playing them, so we know Tanaya Lasson likes to go right hand downhill. So we try to fill in those gaps, stop her early in transition because that's where she thrives as well, and then limiting them to one shot.
Awesome.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, let's roll through because yeah, right here, exactly what you're talking about. Coming down early offense. What are you feeling? Especially, all right, ball gets kicked. How are you kind of feeling about this possession?
making sure I'm in the gap, and then like focusing in on Tanaya especially because she likes to go downhill.
Yeah. So especially like when you're playing on somebody who is that dynamic getting downhill, and
Hmm.
like you said, obviously you want to be in the gap.
Right.
How do you kind of balance being a gap presence, but also not wanting to give her too much space?
Oh yeah, like when you're guarding the best player, you can't give him too much space. So like you gotta trust that your teammates can stop the player that they're guarding, so I can stay closer to their best player, so that I'm ready to guard her when she gets the ball,
For
and
sure.
testing her up on the drive.
Yeah. No, that's what I was going to point out. I love the way that you wall up. I think that's something you do really well is you keep moving your feet, but you also don't foul, which is really
Hmm.
important to stay in front.
Right.
So right here too, because again, like people talk about offensive versatility, I think defensive versatility is something that gets underrated, and
Yeah.
particularly with you, because you go from talking about guarding a one like Tanaya to
Hmm.
guarding somebody at the three like Sonia Citron. So like particularly right here before it even starts, knowing like, all right, down screen into a handoff. What are you thinking and feeling out here?
I know that she's about to come off this screen, so getting ready to fight through
Mm,
this screen to stay with her. She runs off a lot of off ball screens, so making sure that I'm still on her hip, ready. So on the catch, that I'm in front of her instead of trailing.
yeah. Now I love the way that you use your arm and keep it on because like it seems like such a small thing, but like just having anything on somebody is so key in making them uncomfortable and being able to regain position.
Right.
Because then, I mean, you again, your hands are really good. I mean, you play 24 minutes a game, but you averaged over 2 steals last year. Like,
Hmm.
and it's not a fluke. Like, your hands are really good, so you do a good job picking this up, and obviously defense to offense.
Yeah.
Right here too. So again, more like set shot, stationary on a wing. How are you kind of like? Obviously, it's your principle to get over and help, but like when you know, like, okay, somebody like Kara who can really shoot it. How do
Right.
you again balancing wanting to be in help, but also being able to be a presence?
Yeah. I think stunting at the roller so that she doesn't feel like she's wide open, and then making sure I know the scout, knowing that Kara likes to drive or likes to get that catch and shoot.
Hmm.
And like when I close out, making sure my hands are up, so that makes her feel a little bit more uncomfortable and second guess the shot.
Definitely. And again, I really like the wall up too because she tries to go back with step through and then do a really good job getting in front of that force of travel. Particularly guarding up because I think again that's one of the things you do really well. Like you can guard down on smaller players, but you can really guard up too,
Yeah.
especially against like taller players, bigger players. What do you think is most important for you in being able to make them uncomfortable?
Um, they have to bring the ball down, and I feel like, as you said, like, I have good hands, so making it uncomfortable to where, like, when they're bringing the ball down, they're kinda second guessing what they're doing, which
Hmm.
makes them hesitate or maybe make a misstep.
Yeah. And I want to say too because like I know from watching Georgia Tech all last season, Kara loves to get to this get back to step through. I'm assuming that's something you have the scout on because you do a really good
Yeah.
job of like you're there before she can even get back. So that's just again great work. Um, so right here too, again like versatility, playing at the four because like again down the stretch, particularly against Duke, you
Yeah.
played a lot on Jaden Donovan and like
Mhm.
sagged off a little bit. So it's different because you go from like I'm here, stop the ball, be on the wing, to
Mhm.
I'm a helper, roamer, like we're doing some switching off her. So like, how do you kind of work through that in a different spot?
Um, rely on my coaches. They kinda tell me how we're gonna, like, guard certain players because everybody's different.
Sure,
Guarding Jaden Donovan, she's very athletic and she likes that dunker spot, but you can also have, like, a big help on her and help, like, their other guards that are very active on the drive, and off the ball screens. So it just depends. I feel like the scout really helps me, um, be able to guard, like, different types of players in that position.
definitely. Because I think that's one thing you do really well too is being able to rotate low, make plays at the rim, like right
Mhm.
here, force an offhand pass, and then quick switch and just an exchange, and then you guys are able to flatten out the possession. So it's
Right.
good stuff. And I think it also stands out too, like awareness, because to me, like being able to defend on ball matters a ton, but if you get caught off the ball a ton, how much it kind of it doesn't balance out, right?
You're
So
right.
being able to stay on top is really big. And then here too, like obviously, I'm not expecting you to come in and guard fours in the league all the time, but I do think it stands out how often, like when you did have to play the four this year, you really can stand somebody up in
Yeah.
the post if you have to.
Mhm.
So, like in making something like this difficult, like as soon as you start feeling this roll down, what are you thinking in your head? Like, all right, how do I, to make this knowing like, all right, this is probably coming at me.
Yeah, doing my work early before the catch, nudging her off her spot, making her catch the ball a little bit higher up so that I don't have to do too much work when she gets the ball. Because really when she gets the ball lower, I'm at a disadvantage since I'm smaller than her.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I know I have the strength to like push her off, and then that gives my teammates a chance to come help
Yeah.
when
No,
she has to take
absolutely.
extra dribbles. Mhm.
So right here too, I want to get into your transition play because I think, like you hit on earlier, like that's where you really excel.
Mhm.
So as soon as you're getting out and running, what are you feeling? What are you kind of thinking through here?
I'm seeing how many defenders are coming down, and then I'm reading. And usually, if we have more people, seeing like if I need to run wide or if I can just go straight to the basket.
Hmm.
But yeah, it depends.
Absolutely, love the Euro step too. Doing a really good
Mhm.
job. Again, you got a smaller defender coming in with really good hands too.
Yes,
So getting to
yeah.
the Euro, making it tough. Um, it's funny too because you mentioned the change of pace, and one of the things I love in this clip, like obviously good hands to make that happen. But that little jump stop right there, like, I think
Right.
to me, that's one of the things where and we'll get into it in a little bit, but, like, being able to just, like, feel that instead
Yeah.
of, like I think it's a little bit of a double-edged sword, right? Because you're really strong, you can get downhill easy, but at the same time too, like, they know you're trying to get downhill. So, like, being able
Right.
to throw in counters like that is so big.
Mhm.
So right here too, when you have the ball now, all right, instead of, like, coming down as a scorer, what are you looking for? What are you kinda feeling in this?
One defender I see in my post is running the floor. Try to engage the first defender so that I can have a clear pass to Maria. I probably could have read it a little bit better because I knew the other guard was coming on her other side, but she has good hands, so I trusted her catching that.
Yeah, and I mean, she shot, like, over 60% from the field last year. She doesn't miss when she catches the ball either, so
Yeah.
it helps a lot. Um, but like you mentioned in terms of, like, engaging your defender, what are the things that you feel are most important to engaging your defender when you're coming in transition?
Um, in this, maybe changing my pace, either go faster or go a little bit slower so they feel like I'm about to put pressure on the rim
Hmm.
and have to fully commit.
Yep, absolutely. Because like, yeah, if you throw a quick hezzy, she has to step up, guard you a little bit more, even better window. So
Yeah.
love that. Also, I forgot how crazy that game was until I watched
Oh,
it
yeah.
again. There's
Yeah.
a time.
That was a crazy one.
So right here, getting into just your ability to drive, because like obviously we looked at that a little bit in transition, but getting that in the
Mhm.
open court, I think like this is the money for you. Like being able to drive, draw two, and kick. Like
Mhm.
even with like having a couple steps off you, you're really able to put a dent in the defense and get the ball moving. And you guys have tons of shooters. So
Right.
um, especially getting more of these opportunities to like catch and drive. Like, is that something for you? Like, working with your trainer that you've kind of, because I do. It was going back and watching. I think you can see at times where you hesitate and think a little bit. Like, am I going to shoot it or am I going to drive it? And that led to some like I think like a decent amount of your turnovers ended up just being like off that like a quick travel. So
Yeah.
like kind of feeling out that and working on that this summer. What does that look like for you?
Yeah. I feel like it would make it a lot easier if I catch the shoot first and trusted in that. That's going to make it a lot harder for the defenders to like if I start shooting it at a higher percentage, they're gonna have to take that away or sag off, which will give me a little bit better read of whether or not I should attack. I feel like this past season, she's just sitting there, so I'm like, dang, like, do I attack off the catch or do I have to like make a move to kind of get to the lane that I want to get to?
Hmm. But again, it does stand out to you because, like, I mean, you're able to you force help, and that's like
Yeah,
all you can ask for, right? Like,
right.
so it's again, I think it just continues to stand out. Like, if you get that shot, like, there's so much there on the table for you.
Hmm.
Um, I want to get into some of your ball screen stuff too, though, because we got to see a lot of you like handling and playing out of ball screen stuff this past season. So automatically, early offense, you're getting ice. So what are you kind of like seeing and feeling in this?
Really, I'm reading the second defender, seeing if she's going to play me higher or low. Um, Yeah, and seeing where the spaces are. Like I see there's a space baseline, but I think she might have jumped over and then I went middle.
Hmm.
Seeing where the gaps are in the lanes where I can get to her hip and get to the basket.
Absolutely. So like let's say if she came out a little bit higher, a little closer to Alyssa, how does that change up things for you?
I feel like I would have to slow it up so that she makes another step up and then that baseline would be wide open.
Definitely. And also a really good finisher too. But I think it's funny too because we're gonna get into some of your finishing stuff. But I feel like I'm sure like you mentioned after meeting with Coach Banghart, like where your finishing numbers are at. Like
Mhm.
we watch you get like a full lane and I feel really good about you as a finisher. But it's just harder because like when you have somebody who they're staying a couple steps off you,
Uh-huh.
it makes it tougher to finish, right? So like,
Yeah,
but then you see what you can do when you have the space, and it's pretty big.
yeah,
Is that something you kind of like have noticed yourself, or like how you kind of feel through that?
yeah. I think going off of two really has helped me. Like I've been doing that all summer, but also
Mhm.
just getting my touch a little bit better around the rim. I feel like um, just I think my touch was also a little bit off. Hitting different spots on the backboard, I think could really help me finish a little bit more at a higher percentage. Because I get there, just finishing more controlled is one thing, and then hitting the right spots on the backboard.
Definitely. So right here, getting into your pull up, playing against Cal played like a lot more drop. So as soon as you know, like, all right, I got a drop team, I'm working with my big. What are you kind of feeling before you even get the screen, like coming right off of it?
Yeah, I see that her first steps are like backing up, so making sure that I could have held my person in a hostage a little bit more, but also seeing that space in front of me to get into my pull up.
Mentioning the hostage, like what makes you say you could have hold her a little bit more? Like, what do you want to get out of it if you're doing that?
Yeah, just making sure she's getting hit by the screen. Like I feel like I didn't even set the screen up all the way,
Hmm.
but they were in such a drop, and the other people weren't in gap that I still had the space to get to my pull up.
Absolutely. Yeah. And okay, so like going back to though, because I like what you're saying in terms of like in terms of setting it up more, like
Hmm.
outside of just the hostage trip. But what else would you have done in terms of like trying to set that up or give Maria an even better screen to set?
Yeah, I could have jabbed her baseline because they're already sagging off because they know I want to drive. So that would have gave Maria another step to get to screen her, and then I would have had even more space going towards the middle.
Definitely. One thing I wanted to ask you about too, because I went back through and just like watching through all your guys' pick and roll possessions. So you mentioned like change of pace stuff. How are you feeling about getting to the pocket pass this year?
Oh yeah, that's something we've been working on too because it is wide open there.
Hmm.
Um, and like that's just like a read I've also been working on.
Definitely. And I think it's fun too, because like you mentioned, I think that's someone's going to be there for you because teams are going to keep giving you drop, but you got the midi, you got the ability to get downhill. So like that's going to be right there for you.
Right.
And I love that you're being able to point out all that stuff. Like that's really big time that you're able to see it already. Um, so right here too, when you start getting unders, how do you kind of feel like in terms of navigating unders, and what just in general with that?
Yeah. Depends on where I'm getting it at. I feel like in the slot, um, I should play a little bit slower, and then like I would want the rescreen towards back towards the middle because there's just too many people over there.
Hmm.
And that'll just give me more space. But also like this year, I would like to, be more comfortable shooting behind that as well when I get a chance.
For sure. So in terms of like that rescreen and playing down a little bit slower, uh, working with new bigs this season too, or younger bigs, like obviously with Maria gone, like that's your top option. What has that been like in kind of building some of that chemistry and especially like you mentioned with getting some of that change of pace stuff down?
Yeah, I think you slowing down has actually helped my teammates as well because now I can like tell them where to be, and yeah, I feel like they kind of respond to that a little bit better. I feel like if I was more out of control, it'll be a lot more hectic for them as well.
Yeah,
But that's coming along as well. We just have to get our chemistry. Our bigs are a little bit different this year. Sierra, she can stretch the
yeah,
floor.
much more pick and pop.
Yeah, and it's a lot more space under the basket for sure.
Definitely. Well, it'll be fun to watch for sure.
Mhm.
So just getting into a couple more clips. So right here, one of the things that I love too, you guys did a ton of like just running wide and playing out of handoffs. Cause like,
Mhm.
what do you like about getting a handoff here instead of it being just a straight up ball screen in the slot?
It gets my defender to chase me. I feel like now, like I feel like I have the advantage if they're gonna start like turning and running. I can get
Hmm.
into their body a little bit easier. Um,
Absolutely. No, I love that because it's exactly because when you're getting a handoff there into a ball screen, like just like you said, she's got to go over, otherwise she's getting dug down to the post. And I like the hezzy that you throw here too, because then that sets up you being able to get into her body and use the contact. Because like I think that was one of the other things I wanted to hit on. Like you mentioned with your finishes, I'm interested to see what you think, but I feel like oftentimes if you miss at the rim, it's because you're avoiding contact a little bit
yeah.
and floating away. Whereas
Mhm.
like right here, you go right into the contact and that's a much better finish. Because I think like there are moments where like you're most on balance and like comfortable getting to the rim when you really seek out contact and play through it.
Right.
That's something you kind of felt?
Oh yeah, that's been a big thing I've been working on. Like, the contact is actually good, and when you fade away, you have to have extremely good touch to kind of put those in. So yeah,
Yeah.
I've been working a lot with the contact and finishing.
Definitely, because I think like getting even to more of this like the Euro stuff, doing anything going side to side, like you're really good laterally, and I think there's even more stuff to keep unlocking with that. So
Hmm.
excited to see what that looks like. Um, so I want to close on your isolation because it was I knew you were like obviously good at doing things in isolation. Are you aware like you were actually most efficient out of all the things you did doing the hardest thing in basketball, isolating, which is hilarious. But like your numbers in isolation were actually like tremendous, like really high up in the ACC. I think best on the team last year. Is that something you were aware of or no?
Not at all. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that. That's
Yeah.
actually to find that
And
out.
you did a lot in isolation too. So I
Mhm.
want to like starting off right here because I think one of the things that particularly down the stretch of the season, you guys when you were playing like more at the four, they'd throw you mid post and give you an opportunity to rip and go. What do you like about getting in the ball right here and then what you can see out of it?
Yeah, I just feel like that's my spot. I have like a good jab series, and then my first step is quicker than a lot of people, and I think I can just see like I see all the gaps a little bit better when I get the ball in isolation, knowing that they're giving me the ball to kind of attack. Um, But yeah, I'm able to be a little bit patient there as well. Um, yeah,
Definitely.
and like
'Cause
this is what I was working on like a lot in practice. Like they would have me playing one with the boys in those positions, both elbows, off the block a little bit. So I felt pretty comfortable there.
yeah. No, and I like it too because like we're talking about, like, so much of what pops for you is driving, being able to attack the basket, and when you just get a face up from, 16, 18 feet
Mhm.
and people have to play up on you, it opens up stuff like that, and it's really big
Right.
time. Because again, like you're able to do it against fours, you can do it against smaller players. Like there's a lot to work with on it.
Mhm.
So right here too, again, like just really strong contact drive and good stuff on this one. I was like, yeah, they probably regret playing as far out on you on this one as they did. Because I was like, I don't know why they did that, but
Yeah.
especially getting into this cross body stuff though, because I think that's something like when you get the space that I've seen you really like to get into. What makes you feel most comfortable in doing this stuff, and why you like doing it?
I don't know. I feel like I can get a better feel when the person's on me,
Hmm.
and then like being able to bump them and stay strong through that. They're gonna have to like back up a little bit, which gives me enough space to get my finishes around the rim.
Definitely. So last thing I want to close out on, just because that's it for clips, but in terms of like, I want to ask you, did you play other sports growing up?
Yes, I did. I played volleyball in high school.
Okay.
I actually played one like tournament of like travel volleyball. Yeah, I was invited out to like there's this club called Triangle, and yeah, invited me to the top team basically just off my play in high school. But yeah, that was like I also did track and field.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
but I didn't do any running. I don't want to say I didn't do any.
that's funny.
I only did shot put and high jump because
Okay, I can see the shot put for sure.
yeah.
No, it's interesting because I ask because like you're like I don't know if you recognize, but like your ability to move laterally on defense
Mhm.
and like generate power going one leg either way is like pretty special in what you can do with that. Like, so I was wondering if you did any like sports specifically like that, but
Mhm.
so it's funny how that plays out. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, closing out, like you got anything you want to close out on or mesh before we get out of here?
Um. No, thank you for having me on here. Um. Yeah. Just I feel like we were seeing the similar things on the clips, and I just want to grow from the things that we've been seeing, and hopefully we get to see that this season. I'm pretty excited about the team
No,
they have.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm excited to see what you guys look like. Obviously, some new faces, but also a lot
Mhm.
of growth throughout the roster. To everyone watching, be sure to keep up with everything India and the Tar Heels are doing. The season is going to be here like way sooner than I'm ready for. I was going back through and looking at like all the scheduling stuff, and it's approaching fast. So
Oh yeah.
enjoy the rest of your summer, and to everyone watching, enjoy the rest of your day.